The first thing I remember is the splintered wood of the door frame digging into my cheek. The second is the metallic taste of blood in my mouth. And the third is his voice, a low growl that vibrated through the floorboards and up into my bones. "Get out." My mother was sobbing somewhere behind him, a sound like a trapped bird beating its wings against a cage. I tried to push myself up, my whole body screaming in protest. My stepfather, Marcus, stood over me, his shadow swallowing what little light came in from the porch. He took a step closer, his boot stopping just inches from my face. I said, "Get out of my house, you little leech, and don't you ever come back." I was 16. I had just ridden a Greyhound bus for 3 hours through a suffocating summer heat wave with $3,000 in cash, my entire life savings from the factory, stuffed into my sock. Money I had saved to give to my mother. Money I thought could buy her a ticket out of this hell. But as I lay there on the dusty floor, looking up at the man who had stolen my family, I knew, you can't buy freedom for someone who has forgotten what it feels like. That was the last time I saw my mother alive. But to understand why a man would kick his 16-year-old stepdaughter in the stomach, you have to go back. Back to before Marcus. Back to when our family was a whole, fragile thing. My name is Olivia. A beautiful name, don't you think? It sounds like olive groves and sunshine. My life, however, has been anything but. It began in a small, forgettable town in Oregon, the kind of place where the rain feels personal. When I was 10, my father died. A logging truck lost its brakes on a wet road. Just like that, the brightest light in our world was switched off, leaving my mother, my little sister, Lily, and me in the dark. For 2 years, my mother tried. She really did. I saw the exhaustion etched into the corners of her eyes, the way her smile never quite reached them anymore. Then she brought Lily and me to our grandparents' house, a small, quiet place that always smelled of baking bread and old books. She said she was going to the city to find better work. A year later, she found Marcus instead. She remarried, and she took Lily with her. "She's only 7, Olivia," my mother had explained, her gaze fixed somewhere over my shoulder. "She's still so little. She needs me. I need you too," I whispered, my voice cracking. I was 13, not a child, but not yet anything else, just lost. "You're older now. You're strong. And Grandma and Grandpa are here." She said it as if it were a simple fact, like the sky being blue. But it felt like a verdict, a life sentence. Marcus, her new husband, didn't want a teenage stepdaughter. It was that simple. He wanted a new family, a clean slate, and I was a smudge on the page. I cried. God, how I cried. I remember clinging to her leg on my grandparents' porch, the rough denim of her jeans scratching my face, begging her not to leave me. But her new life was waiting, a life over 40 miles away, and there was no room for me in it. I stayed with my grandparents and cried until my eyes were swollen shut and my throat was raw. Some nights, the ache for my mom and Lily was a physical thing, a hollow space in my chest, so vast I thought I might just collapse into it. The distance felt impossible. 40 miles might as well have been the moon. I didn't have a car, and the bus fare was money I didn't have. My grandmother would find me sitting on the porch swing, just staring at the road, my breath catching in my throat. "Olivia, honey? What are you thinking about so hard?" I'd turn to her, the question spilling out before I could stop it. "Grandma, why doesn't Mom come visit?" She'd sigh, a soft, tired sound, and pull me into her arms. "Your mom's just busy, sweetie. Starting a new life is hard. You have to be patient with her. She'll come when she can." "It's been 40 days, Grandma," I'd mumble into her shoulder. 40 days, and I haven't seen her. or Lily. I missed them so much. She'd hold me tighter, stroking my hair, but I could feel the sadness radiating off her, too. A silent, shared grief. Every 2 or 3 months, Mom would drive up with Lily for a visit. They never stayed long, just long enough for a quick lunch, a few strained questions about school, and then they'd be gone again. I remember one time, she'd barely been there an hour when Marcus called. Her whole body tensed. She gave me a hurried hug, a few words, and then she was ushering Lily back to the car. I stood on the porch, watching the taillights disappear down the long, empty road, and a fresh wave of tears would come. The loneliness was an ocean, and I was drowning in it. Then Mom got pregnant with Marcus's baby. The visits became even rarer. Half a year would go by. The days stretched into an eternity, punctuated by the cruel, thoughtless comments from the neighborhood gossips. "Olivia, dear, hear from your mother lately? She's got a new husband now, a new baby on the way. She won't have time for a big girl like you anymore. You see those stories on the news about stepfathers? Hope that new guy is treating your little sister okay. You hear such awful things." Every word was a small, sharp stone thrown at me. I collected them all. They built a wall around my heart, and I never, ever forgot them. By the time I was 15, a dark premonition had taken root in my soul. I was on summer break from school, and the worry for Lily was a constant, gnawing thing. I'd spoken to Mom on the phone a few days before, and in the background, I could hear Lily crying. Not just a kid's cry, but a cry of real pain. And then Marcus's voice, sharp and angry, barking at her to shut up. A cold dread washed over me. He was hurting her. I knew it, so I did the only thing I could. I took the old 10-speed bicycle from my grandfather's shed, and I started pedaling. 40 miles, under the relentless glare of the summer sun. I didn't have the exact address, but I knew the town. I was stubborn. I asked for directions at a gas station, describing my mother and Marcus. It was a small enough place that someone knew them. They pointed me toward a little tract house on the edge of town. When my mom opened the door, her face was a mixture of shock and, was it pity? She saw me standing there, my hair plastered to my forehead with sweat, my hands grimy and stained from the handlebars, my skin baked red by the sun. "Olivia? My God, did you ride your bike all the way here?" "Yeah," I panted, leaning against the doorframe. "I missed you. I missed Lily. I had to see you guys." "Oh, my sweet, foolish girl," she said, her voice soft, riding in this heat. Come in, come in." The air inside was cool and still. "Where's Lily, Mom?" "She's in the back, watching the baby." "Go on in." I walked down the narrow hallway and called her name. "Lily?" Her head popped up from behind the couch. A huge grin spread across her face when she saw me. "Olivia!" She ran and threw her arms around my waist, burying her face in my shirt. "I missed you so much. Can you take me back to Grandma's? Please, Olivia? I don't want to stay here anymore." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. The knot of fear in my stomach tightened. What was happening here? Why would she say that? I stroked her hair, trying to keep my voice light. "Hey, but you have to stay here and help Mom with the baby, right? Who's gonna be Mom's big helper if you go back to Grandma's with me?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "But..." Marcus hits me. He hits me really hard, Olivia. The world stopped. Everything went quiet except for the frantic hammering of my own heart. "He hits you?" "Yeah," she sniffled. He hit me with a stick. Look." She pulled up the hem of her shorts. On her small thigh were 2 long, angry-looking bruises, a deep, ugly purple against her pale skin. Rage, pure and white-hot, flooded through me. I saw red. I stormed back into the living room where my mother was. "Mom, why is Marcus hitting Lily?" She flinched, avoiding my eyes. "He doesn't. It's not." "Don't lie to me," I shouted, my voice shaking. I saw the bruises on her leg. "They're from a stick, aren't they? How could you let him do that?" My mother finally looked at me, her own eyes filling with tears. "She was being naughty, Olivia. She wasn't watching the baby properly. It wasn't a big deal. You don't need to yell." "Not a big deal? She's 9 years old. She's a child. Your job is to protect her, not let your new husband beat her. How can you stand there and say that's okay?" Her face hardened. The fear was replaced by a flash of anger. "You watch your tone with me." She misbehaved. She got punished. That's how it works. She let the baby fall, and Marcus got angry. That's all. The baby is just learning to crawl. Even an adult would have a hard time watching him every second. You can't put that on a 9-year-old. "This is wrong, Mom." "You shut your mouth," she hissed. "You're getting too big for your britches, talking back to me like that. If you can't protect her, then let me take her home. I'll quit school. I'll get a job. I'll take care of her." She scoffed, a bitter, ugly sound. You're 15. You can't even take care of yourself. Stop being so dramatic, Olivia. Grow up. I'm trying to be the adult because you're not acting like one. I love her. Unlike you, it seems. Slap. The sting on my cheek was sharp, shocking. My ear rang, but I didn't cry. I just stood there, staring at her, my vision blurring. "You've never hit me before," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Not once. 2 years with him, and you've already picked up his habits. I'm so disappointed in you, Mom. You little brat," she seethed, raising her hand again. "You're getting more and more disrespectful every day. You think I won't hit you again? I believe you will," I said quietly. "You've changed. You're not my mother anymore." Just then, we heard the sound of a truck pulling into the driveway. My mother's face went pale. "Marcus is home," she whispered, her voice laced with panic. "Don't say anything, Olivia. Please, don't cause any trouble." I fell silent. In that moment, I understood everything. She was terrified of him. Marcus walked in, and the entire atmosphere of the house shifted. It became heavy, oppressive. My mother rushed to his side, her voice suddenly sweet and docile. "Hi, honey. Are you tired? The baby's sleeping. Go wash up. Dinner's almost ready," he grunted, his eyes landing on me, then on my bike parked on the lawn. His expression soured. "What's she doing here?" he muttered to my mother, just loud enough for me to hear. "Oh, Olivia just missed Lily, so she rode her bike over to visit. That's all." I forced myself to speak. "Hello, Marcus." He just stared at me for a second, then brushed past. I heard him whisper to my mom as he went down the hall. "Don't you dare tell me she's here asking for money." No, of course not, honey. She just misses her sister, I swear." Sitting at that dinner table was torture. I couldn't swallow. The food tasted like ash in my mouth. I watched the fear in my mother's eyes every time Marcus looked at her. I saw the way Lily kept her head down, shrinking into herself whenever he spoke. "Eat your dinner," my mother said quietly to us. "Olivia, once you're done, you should head back. Grandma will be worried." "Yes, Mom." Lily's small voice piped up. "Mommy, can I go back to Grandma's with Olivia? Just for a little while?" My mother hesitated, her eyes darting toward Marcus. He spoke before she could, a strange, false cheerfulness in his voice. "That's a fine idea. Let Lily go with Olivia for a bit. We're going on a little vacation in a few days anyway. Whenever we get back, Olivia can bring her back up." Lily's face lit up. She beamed at me. but a cold dread filled my stomach. He didn't want her on their vacation. He wanted her gone. She wasn't his daughter. She was just a babysitter for his real child. After dinner, under that same blistering sun, I put Lily on the back of my bike and we started for home. My mother, afraid of Marcus, didn't give us a single dollar, not even a bottle of water. I took off my own thin jacket and draped it over Lily's head to shield her from the sun. "We're going back to Grandma's, Lily," I said, my voice brighter than I felt. Yay, the sun beat down on my back. Sweat poured down my face, stinging my eyes. But hearing Lily's happy giggles behind me made it all worth it. On a long, empty stretch of road, I started swerving the bike from side to side, making her laugh even harder. After 2 hours, my legs were burning. "Lily, are you thirsty?" "A little," she said. I saw a small roadside stand up ahead and pulled over. I asked the old woman running it if we could have some water. She looked at the two of us, sweaty and sunburnt, and her kind face softened. She gave us a cup of water, and then she handed us a cold bottle of orange soda and 2 lollipops. Lily's eyes went wide with joy. We thanked her and got back on the road. Just after 4 o'clock, we finally pulled into my grandparents' driveway. When my grandmother saw us, her eyes filled with tears, and she quickly turned away so we wouldn't see. That evening, my grandfather grilled chicken for us. He and my grandmother barely ate. They just watched us, their faces a mixture of love and profound sadness. Those were the best days. For 1 week, it was just us. Lily was happy again. She was safe. Then, my mother came to take her back. I walked Lily to the car, my heart aching. I knelt down in front of her. "You be a good girl for Mom, okay? Listen to what she says. Listen to Marcus." The name felt like poison on my tongue. "Okay. Will you come visit me again soon, Olivia?" "I will. I promise." We hugged, clinging to each other. I didn't want to let her go. That was the last time I ever saw my sister. 2 weeks later, I was desperate to visit her, but my grandmother needed help with her market stall. I had to stay and work. Another week went by. Then the phone rang. It was my mother. She told my grandmother that Lily was dead. She had run out into the street. A car hit her. An accident. The world shattered. My beautiful, vibrant little sister, my reason for living, gone. How could she be gone? My grandparents and my uncles rented a car, and we drove up there immediately, seeing her small, still body in that casket. A scream tore from my throat, a sound of pure agony that I didn't know I was capable of making. I had really lost her. She was gone forever. After Lily died, something inside me broke. School felt pointless. I dropped out. I lied about my age and got a job at a garment factory. I wasn't old enough to be an official employee, so they paid me as an apprentice based on how much I produced. It didn't matter. All I wanted was to work, to numb the pain. I was fast, and my output was high. My supervisor, a woman named Carol, took a liking to me. She knew my story and felt sorry for me. My first month's paycheck was $600. I bought a new, better bicycle for $120. I gave $200 to my grandmother. I put $200 aside for my mother. The rest, I saved. The second month, another $600. I put another $200 away for Mom, but she never came to visit. The third month, the pile of money for her grew to $600. Still no word. By the 5th month, I had $1,000 saved just for her, and she still hadn't come. I decided I had to go to her. I wrapped the 10 $100 bills carefully in a plastic bag, tucked it deep into my jeans, and got on my new bike. The ride was easier this time, faster. I made it in just under 3 hours. As I coasted to a stop at the end of their driveway, I could hear them, shouting. Marcus and my mother, fighting. I hesitated, my hand on the gate. A woman from the house next door saw me and waved me over. "You're the older daughter, aren't you?" she asked, her voice low. I nodded. She glanced back at the house. "You know, the day your little sister got hit by that car, they were fighting just like this, even louder. We could all hear it. He was screaming at your mother, screaming at that poor little girl. Then she ran out into the road and the car. It was right there." The woman lowered her voice even more. "Some of us, we always wondered. The police came. They talked to your mother, but she just said it was an accident, that Lily just ran out. She shut it all down." The woman sighed. "He's not a good man. He's been hard on your mother lately, always yelling, coming home late. She gets bruises sometimes." My hands clenched into fists. A cold, hard knot formed in my stomach. So it wasn't an accident. He had killed her. And my mother, my foolish, weak mother, had protected him. I hated him. And in that moment, I think I started to hate her too. Just then, the front door flew open and Marcus stormed out. He got in his truck and peeled out of the driveway without a backward glance. My mother ran out onto the porch, watching him go, her shoulders shaking with sobs. I walked over to her. "Mom, why are you crying?" She jumped when she saw me, quickly wiping her eyes. "Olivia." "What? What are you doing here? Did you ride your bike again?" "Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, so I came to visit." "Come on in," she said, her voice thin. Daisy's finally learned to walk. I saw my little half-sister toddling unsteadily around the living room. She was a beautiful baby, with my mother's eyes, a wave of something complex. Love, resentment, sadness, washed over me. I picked her up. She giggled. "Hey there, Daisy," I whispered. "You be a good girl for your big sister, okay? Maybe one day Mommy will bring you to visit me and Grandma and Grandpa." I sat down on the worn-out couch with my mother. We talked like strangers performing a script. "So, are you doing okay, Mom?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. "I'm fine," she said, a little too quickly. "Grandma told me you're working now? At the factory?" "Yeah, for about 5 months now." I took a deep breath. This was it. I have something for you." I reached into my jeans and pulled out the plastic bag. The bills were crumpled and warm from being pressed against my skin for 3 hours. I put the thick wad of cash on the coffee table between us. $1,000. She stared at it, then at me. Her mouth opened slightly. "Olivia, where did you get this much money?" "I saved it. For you. I want you to have it." She looked at the money, her expression unreadable. For a second, I saw a flicker of the mother I used to know, a flash of pride, maybe even shame at taking money from her teenage daughter. "Why would you give this to me? You should save it for yourself." "I have money. I'll make more," I said. "I put $200 away for you every month. I want you to use it for whatever you need." A slow, tired smile spread across her face. It didn't reach her eyes. "My daughter," she murmured, picking up the cash, feeling its weight. "You're all grown up, earning your own money, taking care of your mother." She gave a small, brittle laugh. "Before you know it, you'll be getting married." "I'm only 16, Mom. 25 will be here before you know it," she said, her voice distant. "You should find a nice boy, maybe one with some money, someone who can give you a good life." Her words hung in the air, thick with a bitter irony that she seemed completely oblivious to. I looked around the small, dark house, at the cheap furniture, at the shadows in the corners. I looked at her. "Mom," I said, my voice barely a whisper. You married Marcus. He has money. Are you happy? Are you living a good life? The question landed like a stone in a silent pond. She froze. The fake smile vanished from her face. She looked away, her jaw tight. It's fine, Olivia. Fine? I pressed, the anger I'd been suppressing beginning to simmer. Is it fine when he screams at you? I heard you two fighting when I got here. I heard him yelling at you over the phone that day at Grandma's. That's not fine, Mom. Silence. She wouldn't look at me. She just sat there, clutching the $1,000 I'd given her, a prisoner in her own home. I stood up to leave. My heart felt like a lead weight in my chest. Before I walked out the door, I turned back to her. Mom, I'm going. But if it ever gets to be too much here, you can always come home, okay? You can always come back to us. She just nodded, her eyes fixed on the floor. I got on my bike and rode away. I kept working, kept saving. 2 more months passed. I put aside another $400 for her, and once again, I rode those 40 miles. Do you ever get that feeling? That sense of dread that coils in your gut, telling you that you're walking toward a disaster, but you can't stop yourself? That's what I felt as I pedaled down that long, familiar road. This time, the shouting was louder. I didn't even have to get off my bike to hear it. I pushed open the gate and ran to the front door, my heart pounding against my ribs. It was unlocked. I pushed it open and stepped inside, and I saw it. Marcus had my mother by the hair, dragging her across the living room floor. She was screaming, trying to claw at his hands. Mom, I yelled, the sound tearing from my throat. He saw me. For a split second, he paused, but his eyes were wild, filled with a terrifying, unrestrained rage. He didn't let go. If anything, seeing me there only seemed to fuel his fury. What the hell are you doing here? He snarled. I ran toward them. Let her go. Get your hands off my mother. Stay out of this, you little bitch. He shoved my mother away and turned on me. This is your fault. Always showing up, causing trouble. I tried to get between him and my mom. Leave her alone. If you want to hit someone, hit me. You want to be a hero, he sneered. Fine. And then he drew back his foot and kicked me, hard, in the stomach. The air rushed out of my lungs in a whoosh. A blinding, white-hot pain exploded in my gut, and I crumpled to the floor, gagging. My mother scrambled over to me, her face a mask of terror. Olivia, are you okay? Oh God, Olivia, just go. Please, just leave. I'm fine. Those words, coming from her bruised and terrified face as I lay winded on the floor from her husband's assault. They broke something in me. All the love, all the pity, all the hope I had clung to for her. It all shattered and turned to ice-cold fury. You're not fine, I gasped, struggling to get my breath back. How can you say that? I hate you. I hate you for letting him do this. I saw it then. A heavy metal garden stake, the kind used to tie up tomato plants, lying near the fireplace. In that moment, I wasn't a 16-year-old girl anymore. I was an animal, cornered and wounded, protecting its own. I scrambled to my feet, grabbed the stake, and with a scream of pure, primal rage, I lunged at him. I swung it wildly, connecting with his arm, his side, his back. He grunted in pain and surprise. The stake was heavy, clumsy, but my rage gave me strength. He backed away, shielding his head, and for a glorious second, I thought I had won. But then his eyes narrowed, and the shock turned back into fury. He lunged for me. I dropped the stake and ran, out the door, down the driveway, screaming for help. He was right behind me. Neighbors started coming out of their houses. A man from across the street shouted, "Hey, leave that girl alone." Marcus stopped at the edge of his lawn, breathing heavily, his face contorted in a mask of hate. The neighbors started to close in, and he retreated back into the house, slamming the door. I stood there in the street, shaking, my whole body throbbing with adrenaline and pain. My mother came out onto the porch. She wasn't looking at me with gratitude or relief. She was looking at me with anger. She was siding with him. "You need to go, Olivia," she said, her voice cold and hard. "Go home, and don't come back." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything that had just happened, she was kicking me out. She was choosing him. Tears streamed down my face, hot and bitter. I walked back to her, my legs unsteady. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the $400 I had brought for her. I shoved it into her hand. "Take it," I choked out. "Buy some medicine for your face. It's starting to swell." She took the money, her eyes avoiding mine. "Just go, Olivia. Don't tell Grandma and Grandpa about this. He beats you like this, and you just take it? You stay with him?" Her voice was flat, devoid of emotion. "You're just a kid. You don't understand adult problems. Go home." "Fine," I whispered. "Stay healthy, Mom, if you have time. Come visit us." I knew she wouldn't. I've caused trouble with Marcus now. I won't be coming back here again. "Good," she said. "Go." I looked at her one last time, trying to find a trace of the woman who had raised me, the mother who had loved me. There was nothing left. I got on my bike and rode away, and from that day on, I was angry. I didn't visit her again. A part of me was afraid of what Marcus would do, but a bigger part of me was just done. I couldn't save her. But still, every month, like a fool, I put $200 in an envelope with her name on it. The pile of money grew and grew, and she never came. She never even called. Christmas came and went. The New Year, her birthday, nothing. It was like I had ceased to exist. I threw myself into my work. I took every overtime shift I could get. The money was piling up, a monument to a mother I no longer had. Then, when I was 18, the call came. It wasn't her. It was a woman from the county coroner's office. My mother was dead. Pneumonia, they said. She'd been sick for a while and just faded away. The floor dropped out from under me. The grief was a physical thing, a crushing weight that buckled my knees. All the anger, all the resentment, it all vanished, replaced by an agony so profound it stole the air from my lungs. The pain of losing Lily, which had scabbed over but never healed, was ripped open again. And now, my mother, gone. I collapsed, not just emotionally, but physically. My world went gray. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trapped in a silent, suffocating darkness. My grandparents, terrified, took me to the hospital. The doctors called it major depressive disorder with complicated grief. For nearly 6 months, I was a ghost, drifting through the sterile white halls of a psychiatric ward, my mind a wasteland of loss and pain. When I finally came out, I wasn't the same person. The fire was gone. The anger was gone. The hope was gone. All that was left was a quiet, cold emptiness. I became withdrawn, speaking only when necessary. I had seen too much, lost too much. The violent tragedies of my life had tempered me into something hard and resilient. I found a strange sort of peace in being alone, in the quiet. On weekends, when I wasn't at the factory, I'd take a tent and a backpack and disappear into the vast forests of Oregon. I found a comfort in the solitude, in the rustle of leaves and the crackle of a campfire. Out there, under a blanket of stars, surrounded by ancient trees, I felt a flicker of something that resembled peace. It was the only place the ghosts of my past couldn't seem to find me. For my 20th birthday, I planned a special trip for myself, a solo camping trip to a remote stretch of the coast I'd seen online. It looked beautiful, peaceful, a place with forests that met the sea, the perfect escape. I packed my gear, told my grandparents I'd be back in 3 days, and set off on my motorcycle. The first day was perfect. I camped deep in the woods, the air cool and clean. The quiet was a balm to my soul. The second day, I rode down to the beach. I went for a swim in the cold, bracing ocean, then lay on a large, flat rock to dry in the sun. The sound of the waves, the warmth on my skin, it was hypnotic. I closed my eyes and drifted off. I don't know how long I was asleep. What woke me was a man's voice, low and greasy. Well, look what we have here. A little mermaid washed up on the shore. My eyes snapped open. I sat up, my heart instantly hammering against my ribs. 5 of them. 5 men, ranging in age from their 30s to their 40s, were standing in a semicircle around my rock, looking down at me. Their eyes, the way they looked at me, was like I was a piece of meat. I scrambled to my feet, pulling my towel around me. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice shaking. A big, bald man with a beer belly took a step forward, licking his lips. "Just admiring the view. Never seen a beauty like you around here before. You a tourist?" His eyes raked over my body, and I felt sick. I had to get away from them. "I was just leaving," I said, trying to edge past them. One of them reached out and grabbed my arm. His grip was like iron. "Hey, where you going so fast, sweetheart? The party's just getting started. Let go of me," I hissed, trying to wrench my arm free. A cold, familiar terror was creeping up my spine. This was bad. This was very, very bad. I twisted out of his grip and I ran. "Grab her!" one of them shouted. I sprinted across the sand, my bare feet sinking, slowing me down. I could hear them crashing through the brush behind me. Where could I go? I was alone. There was no one around for miles. How could I possibly escape 5 of them? I didn't. They caught me at the edge of the woods. They dragged me, kicking and screaming, deeper into the forest, to a clearing with a large, flat outcropping of rock. They held me down, and then, one by one, they raped me. The pain was unimaginable. Not just the physical violation, but the complete and utter destruction of my will, myself. They were animals. They bit me on my neck, my chest, my thighs, leaving marks like trophies. They took the last piece of my girlhood, the last shred of innocence I had left, and they tore it to pieces with a casual, brutal cruelty. I gritted my teeth, enduring the agony, forcing myself to memorize their faces. Every single one. If I survived this, they would pay. They would all pay. When they were finished, they dragged my limp body to an old, abandoned cabin deep in the woods. They threw me inside and locked the door. I was bruised, bleeding, and broken, but I was alive. For now. The next day, they came back. They brought a box of stale takeout and a bottle of water. After I ate, they dragged me to a nearby stream and washed me like I was an object, a doll. And then they did it again, right there on the bank of the stream. When they were done, they locked me back in the cabin. I had become their thing, their toy, a sex slave for 5 monsters. They took turns, day after day, their bodies crushing me, their grunts filling the small, dusty space. The pain became a constant companion, a dull, throbbing ache that settled deep in my bones. I started to think about dying. Maybe it would be better, a release from this endless torture. My life had been nothing but pain and loss. Maybe death was the only peace I would ever know. But then I'd see their faces in my mind's eye, and a different feeling would rise up through the despair. Rage. I couldn't die here. Not like this. Not in this filthy, forgotten place. I would not let them be the end of my story. They only fed me once a day. I was weak, starving. I crawled to the door, looking for any way out, but it was solid. Then one of them came alone. He was the one who looked different from the others. Cleaner, a bit more educated looking. He seemed almost hesitant. He brought me some rice and a bottle of water. He opened the door and helped me sit up. "You should eat," he said, his voice quiet. He seemed like he might have a conscience. He was my only hope. I grabbed onto his arm, my voice a desperate, croaking whisper. "Please," I begged. "Please, let me go. I'm so scared. I'm going to die in here. Please, help me." He looked at me, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of pity in his eyes. "Are you in a lot of pain?" "Yes," I sobbed. "So much pain. Please, I'm begging you. Let me go. I won't tell anyone. I swear I won't go to the police. I'll just disappear. Please." He hesitated. My heart leaped with a fragile, desperate hope. But then, his face hardened, and he shook his head. "I'm sorry. I can't. My friends, they'd kill me." My hope died as quickly as it had been born. "Please," I whispered one last time. "Just eat your food," he said, and left. He was my last chance, and he had abandoned me. The word men. It became a curse, a source of disgust and pure, undiluted hatred. The next day, he came again. This time, he brought a fresh set of clothes and 2 cartons of chocolate milk, along with the food. I knew I had to play a different game now. I had to earn his trust. So I ate meekly, my eyes downcast, playing the part of the broken, submissive victim. Just as I finished, the other 4 arrived. They saw him there, saw the concern on his face. "What are you doing, man?" one of them asked. "Just brought her some food." "Getting soft on us?" another one sneered. The others laughed. "She looks pathetic, I know. But man, she's good, isn't she?" And then they took their turns again. I endured it, my mind detaching, floating somewhere above my body, watching the horrific scene unfold. When they were done, they goaded the nice one. "Come on, your turn. Don't be shy." He hesitated, looking at me with those pitying eyes. I stared back, silently begging him not to, but he did. His friends cheered him on from the doorway. "See? Fucking amazing, right? Told you." After they had all had their fun, they left, locking the door behind them. I lay on the filthy floor, unable to move. The pain in my lower body was excruciating. Blood was soaking through my pants. I was going to die here, bleed to death on the floor of this forgotten cabin. "No," a voice screamed inside me. "I will not die like this. Oh God, why are you so unfair?" I thought, staring up at the cobweb-covered ceiling. "I've never hurt anyone. I've tried to be good. Why does my life have to be this? This endless nightmare? Why?" On the 5th day, I was still alive. Barely. I heard them talking outside the door. "She looks like a goddamn ghost. You think she's gonna last much longer? Who knows? It was fun while it lasted. We should probably finish this up soon. Find a new toy. Yeah, you're right. Let's give it one more day, then we'll take care of it." They were going to kill me tomorrow. My time was running out. I had to get out. The 6th day, the nice one came alone again with food and water. I was so weak I couldn't even sit up properly. The food just came right back up. I couldn't keep anything down. He looked worried, genuinely worried. "You can't eat? It's too dry," I rasped. "I can't swallow. Could you bring me some soup? Something soft? He thought for a moment, then nodded. Okay, I'll go home and get you some. I'll be back. He must have thought I was too weak to even move. He must have been feeling guilty, because for the first time, he didn't lock the door. He just pulled it shut and left. This was it, my only chance. I summoned every last ounce of strength I had. I crawled to the door, my body screaming in protest. I pushed it open. I was out, but I couldn't go down the path. I had to be back soon. I crawled into the dense woods, dragging myself through the dirt and thorns, hoping, praying, I would find someone. My knees were raw and bleeding. Thorns scratched my face. I crawled until I couldn't anymore, collapsing at the base of a huge, ancient tree. It was getting dark. No one was coming. I was going to die out here, after all. Cold, hungry, and alone. Late that night, I woke up, shivering violently. It was pitch black. My body was a symphony of pain, but the instinct to survive is a powerful thing. I gritted my teeth and started crawling again. I had to keep moving, and then I saw it, through the trees, a faint, flickering orange light, a campfire. Someone was here. Help, I croaked, my voice a dry whisper. Please, help me. I crawled toward the light, using the last of my energy. A young couple, sitting by a tent, heard my cries. They saw me emerge from the darkness, a bloody, bruised, half-naked creature, and their faces registered shock, then horror. Oh my God, help me, please. They rushed to me, wrapped me in a blanket, gave me water. The girl held me as I shivered by the fire, tears streaming down her face. Who did this to you? She whispered. I shook my head. I couldn't talk about it. We have to call the police. We have to get you justice. No, I rasped. Just get me out of here, please. This place is dangerous. They helped me into their car, and we drove away from that forest of nightmares. For 3 hours, I lay in their back seat, drifting in and out of consciousness. They took me to a hospital in the next state over, a place where no one knew me. The doctors and nurses were kind, but their questions felt like more violations. I told them I fell, a hiking accident. I refused to let them call the police. What good would it do? They would be out of jail in a few years. That wasn't justice. That wasn't enough. They deserved to pay with their lives. You bastards, I thought. As I lay in that sterile hospital bed, I'll be back for you, someday, and you will all die. That's the promise I made to myself. I didn't tell my grandparents the truth. I told them the same lie, a hiking accident. After a month, I was physically stable enough to go home, but my mind was a war zone. I was diagnosed with PTSD on top of my recurring depression. I spent another 3 months in outpatient therapy, learning to sleep again without waking up screaming. When I was finally well enough, I went back to work. But I was a different person now. I had a new purpose, my plan for revenge. I started training. I learned to swim, building my strength. I bought a notebook, and in it, I meticulously planned my vengeance. Every detail, every contingency. I worked, I ate, I went home to my room, and I planned. I shut everyone out. My grandmother grew worried. She saw me retreating into myself, locking myself away every night. She was afraid I was suicidal. Let me sleep in here with you tonight, Olivia, she said one evening, standing at my bedroom door. It'll be fun, like a sleepover. I knew what she was doing. I managed a small, cold smile. Grandma, are you afraid I'm going to do something stupid? Her eyes filled with tears. I just worry about you, honey. I gave her a hug. It felt strange, like hugging someone through a suit of armor. Don't worry about me, Grandma. I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm afraid of dying. I have too much unfinished business to die just yet. She looked relieved, even if she didn't understand. She trusted me. She went back to her room, and I closed my door and went back to my notebook, back to my plan. I don't know if it was the trauma or if this darkness was inside me all along, but I had become cold, hard. On the outside, I was a quiet, polite girl who worked hard at the factory, but inside, my head was filled with images of that cabin and a thirst for retribution that burned hotter than any fire. At work, a few of the guys tried to talk to me. I ignored them. I had no interest. Men were the enemy, but there was one, a guy named Ethan, who was persistent. He was 5 years older than me, handsome, with a kind smile that all the other women in the factory swooned over. He didn't care that I was cold to him. One day at lunch, my supervisor, Carol, brought me an orange soda. "This is from Ethan," she said, setting it on my table. "He's really got a thing for you, you know." "I'm not interested," I said, without looking up from my work. Carol sat down next to me. "He says he's drawn to your sad eyes. He told me he's never once seen you smile. That's because I don't." I turned to her. "Carol, please tell him I'm not interested, and I don't want his soda." "Olivia, you're being a little harsh. He's a good guy. You keep pushing people away. You're going to miss out on someone wonderful." I didn't say anything. What did she know about my life? What did she know about the things I'd seen? For me, there was nothing more important than my revenge. Ethan didn't give up. He got my number from Carol and started texting me. I never replied. He would try to talk to me at work. I would ignore him. He bought me drinks. I threw them in the trash. He brought me flowers. I tore the petals off one by one and dropped them in the bin right in front of him. But he was relentless. He was kind. He was patient. And slowly, against my will, the ice around my heart began to show the tiniest of cracks. My plan was complete. Everything was ready. I just needed to arrange things at work. I put in a request for 3 days off for personal reasons. Ethan saw the request form. "Hey, Olivia, taking a few days off? I have some personal things to take care of," I said, my voice flat. "Anything I can help with?" he offered, his eyes full of genuine concern. "No, it's something only I can do." He looked disappointed. "Well, okay, but listen, when you get back, would you let me take you out? For ice cream, maybe? Just once." I looked at him, really looked at him, at his kind face, his hopeful eyes. What would it be like to be normal? To go for ice cream with a nice boy? A life I could never have. A life I was about to throw away. I sighed. "All right, Ethan. When I get back, we'll go for ice cream." His face lit up like a child's on Christmas morning. "Really? You promise?" "I promise," I said. It was a promise I made, knowing I might not be alive to keep it. It was a promise to the girl I could have been, if the world hadn't been so cruel. A final, fleeting glimpse of a different life. 6 months after they left me for dead, I went back. My backpack this time wasn't filled with camping gear and novels. It was filled with tools for a different kind of work. A length of rope, zip ties, a roll of duct tape, a taser I'd bought online, a small, sharp utility knife, and 3 plastic soda bottles filled with concentrated sulfuric acid. I knew I might not come back from this trip. I might be killed, but I made a vow to myself. If I went down, I was taking them with me. I parked my motorcycle in a hidden grove of trees and walked toward the beach. I stood at the edge of the sand, at the very spot where my life had been torn apart. I planned to use myself as bait. I would swim here, lie on that same rock, and wait for the sharks to smell blood in the water. I changed into a pink bikini, a stark, deliberate contrast to the darkness in my soul. I waded into the ocean and swam for a while, letting the cold water wash over me. It didn't feel cleansing. Nothing could wash away the filth I felt. After a time, I saw it. A small fishing boat, chugging its way across the water, 2 figures inside. As it got closer, my breath caught in my throat. It was them, the bald one, the one who had spoken first, and behind him, a skinny one with a long, jagged scar down his cheek. 2 of them, perfect. I'm right here, I thought, a cold smile touching my lips. Come and get me. Come to your judgment day. They were predators, conditioned by a lifetime of getting away with it. Seeing a young woman alone in such a remote place was a signal they couldn't ignore. As their boat drew nearer, I swam back to shore and stretched out on the big, flat rock, feigning nonchalance. They beached their boat and walked toward me, their strides confident, arrogant. The bald one, hi, flashed a yellow-toothed grin. Hey there, all alone again? For now, I said, my voice deliberately sultry. I like my own company, usually. Well, that's a shame. It's no fun being lonely. Why don't you come hang out with us? We'll show you a good time. A good time? I purred, sitting up and letting my towel drop slightly. Where would we go? Oh, we've got a little spot nearby. Real private. Will there be other people? I asked, feigning innocence. Just our crew. 5 of us in total. You'll love 'em. 5. So they were all coming. Excellent. The bald one pulled out his phone. Hey guys, get down to the old spot. We got a live one. My plan was working perfectly. First, I had to deal with these 2. I stood up, stretching languidly, my body a carefully constructed lure. So, I said, looking from one to the other, what are your names? I like to know who I'm playing with. The bald one puffed out his chest. I'm High. This here is Lamb. Quinn. I lied, using a name that wasn't mine. I gave them a slow, deliberate smile, letting my eyes linger. You 2 are very impressive looking. Are you married? High laughed. We're married, yeah, but we're not dead. We don't have girlfriends yet, if that's what you're asking. Oh, it is, I whispered, stepping closer. Ever tried something different? I can help you unwind. I promise. You'll never feel anything like it. High's eyes widened with greed. He licked his lips. Oh yeah? I'm game. I'm definitely game. But the scarred one, Lamb, was looking at me more closely, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. He frowned. Wait a minute. You look familiar. My heart skipped a beat. Had he recognized me? I'd changed my hair, used makeup to alter my features, but was it enough? High glanced at me, then back at his friend. What are you talking about? She looks like that girl from 6 months ago. Yeah, that's it. She looks a lot like her. Shit. They were sharper than I thought. I had to diffuse this, and fast. I forced a laugh, light and airy. What girl? Is that some kind of pickup line? You look like this other girl I screwed over. Lamb was still staring. No, seriously. But she wouldn't come back here, would she? Not after. I mean, she was practically dead when we left her. She's probably buried in a ditch somewhere by now. I saw my opening. I pouted, running a hand through my hair. Are you 2 going to stand there talking about some other girl? Or are you going to pay attention to me? I flew all the way out here to get away from my ex. I'm feeling a little wild. Are you going to help me or not? Oh, hell yes, High said, his lust overriding his friend's suspicion. I walked over to the rock where I'd left my bag and pulled on a light beach cover-up, but I left it open. a deliberate display. The two of them were practically drooling. God, I'm so thirsty, I sighed, picking up one of the soda bottles. Gotta get my energy up for you two. I unscrewed the cap. It wasn't soda. It was acid. This was the moment. I knew if I tried to fight them head on, I'd lose. I had to use their own vile natures against them. The Meerensee, the honey trap, they couldn't resist. Their base, animal instincts took over completely. They unzipped their pants, their crude laughter echoing in the quiet cove. All right, beautiful, I grunted. So, how do you want this? One at a time, or both of us at once? Oh, definitely both of you, I said, my voice dripping with false excitement. As they stepped toward me, exposed and vulnerable, I moved. In one swift motion, I flung the contents of the bottle directly at their groins. The screams were instantaneous, high-pitched, inhuman sounds of pure agony. They clutched themselves, staggering back, their eyes wide with shock and excruciating pain. The acid ate through their clothes, their skin. I watched, my face a mask of cold satisfaction, as they writhed on the sand. I took their boat, pushed it out into the water, and just floated, listening to their screams fade as I drifted out onto the calm, indifferent sea. 2 down, 3 to go. A little while later, another boat appeared. It was the third one, the hairy one, the one who had been the most violent, the most relentless in the cabin. He saw me, a lone woman in a pink bikini floating in a boat, and his course changed immediately. I waved him over, putting on a damsel in distress act. Hey, can you help me? I called out. Of course, he couldn't resist. A pretty girl in trouble. He motored over. What's the problem? Sweetheart, my engine died, I said, my voice full of fake panic. I'm just stuck out here. I don't know what to do. No problem, he said, his eyes roaming over me. Let me take a look. You look like you fell right out of the sky. Beautiful as an angel. Really? I simpered, fluttering my eyelashes. My boyfriend just broke up with me. He said I was ugly. He must be blind. The man scoffed. If you were my girl, I'd treat you like a queen. He was so easy. I reeled him in, line and sinker. He climbed from his boat into mine, leaving his own backpack and gear behind. Idiot. The third one was about to meet his maker. So, where's the problem? He asked, leaning over the small outboard motor. Right here, I said. As he bent over, I took the second bottle of acid and poured it over the back of his head. He screamed and collapsed, twitching violently. I pulled out the taser and pressed it to his leg, holding the button down until he stopped moving. Then, I used the duct tape and rope to bind his hands and feet. I knelt beside him. His face was a mess of burns, his eyes wide with terror and recognition. Remember me? I whispered. I'm the girl you and your friends left for dead 6 months ago. I came back to send you to hell. How does it feel? He tried to speak, but only gurgles came out. He was begging for his life, but I felt nothing. No pity, no mercy. The memory of his hands on me, his weight crushing me, it erased all humanity from my heart. I took out the utility knife, the one I used for cutting threads at the factory. I cut off his pants. Then I cut off his penis, a clean, swift motion. I threw it into the water. Then I rolled his still-breathing body off the side of the boat and watched him sink. 3 down, 2 to go. After killing him, a strange calmness settled over me. I felt powerful, but also monstrous. Who had I become? This cold-blooded, methodical killer? The answer was simple. They had created me. They had pushed me into this abyss. I was just finishing what they started. When this was all over, I would turn myself in. Even the death penalty seemed like a gentle release compared to the hell I had already endured. I put on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt over my bikini and made my way toward the abandoned cabin. I walked along the dirt path, the same path they had dragged me down. The birds were singing. The sun was filtering through the trees. It was a beautiful day for a slaughter. A dirt bike came rattling down the path toward me. It was him, the fourth one, the nice one, the one who brought me chocolate milk before he raped me, the one who pitied me but lacked the courage to save me. His cowardice made him just as guilty as the others. He was carrying 2 cases of beer and a bag of groceries, on his way to meet his friends for a party they would never have. He slowed down as he approached me, his eyes taking in the strange sight of a young woman walking alone in the middle of nowhere. I bent down, pretending to tie my shoe, and subtly checked him for weapons. Nothing, just beer and chips. "Hi there," I said, smiling sweetly. He stopped the bike. "Hey, you lost?" "Sort of," I said, putting on my best lost little girl voice. "I was with a friend, but we got separated. I don't know where he went. My phone's dead." "Ah, that's not good. It's easy to get lost in these woods. Could you help me look for him? Please?" He hesitated. "Well, I'm kinda on my way to meet some people." "Oh, please don't leave me here alone," I begged, my eyes wide. "I'm scared." He sighed. All right, I'll help you." "Where do you think he went?" He parked his bike on the side of the path, leaving the keys in the ignition. Another idiot. I led him off the path, deeper into the woods, chattering aimlessly. "What's your name?" I asked. "Tin. I'm Quinn. You're very handsome, Tan. Do you have a girlfriend?" He hesitated. No girlfriend." A liar. I distinctly remembered him telling his friends he had to get home to his wife. I led him to a clearing, a secluded spot with a large oak tree. I leaned against it, looking at him with what I hoped was a seductive gaze. A young woman in a bikini top and tight jeans, alone in the woods with him. He was a man. He couldn't resist. "You're tired," I whispered. "Let's rest for a minute." I stepped closer. "You're so nice to help me. I really, really like you, Tan." He swallowed hard. I like you too, Quinn. You're very beautiful. Do you want to try something different?" I asked, echoing the words I'd used on his friends. "Right here. It would be thrilling." He was panting now, his eyes glazed over with lust. What kind of different?" "This kind," I said. "Close your eyes and enjoy the ride." He did. He actually closed his eyes and smiled, waiting. I pulled out the last bottle of acid. "Open your mouth," I whispered. "Have a little drink to relax." He opened his mouth like a baby bird. I tilted the bottle and poured the acid straight down his throat. His eyes flew open in agony. He clawed at his throat, making horrific, choking sounds. As he writhed on the ground, I took out my knife and stabbed him in the stomach. Once, twice. Then I cut his throat, silencing his screams forever. I covered his body with leaves and branches. I wiped the blood from my hands and the knife. I walked back to his dirt bike, took the keys, and drove it toward the cabin. One left. When I arrived at the cabin, his motorcycle was already there, the 5th and final monster. I parked Tan's bike next to his. He heard the engine and opened the door. "Who are you?" he asked. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Where's Tan?" "Oh, hi," I said brightly. "I'm a friend of Tan's. He had to go pick up another friend, so he asked me to come on ahead. The others should be here soon." He looked me up and down. "A friend of Tan's, huh? A pretty little thing like you?" He told me you guys are all best friends. 5 of you, right? I've been waiting to meet you all. He relaxed a little. Yeah? Well, I've been waiting here for an hour. Don't know where the hell they are. Can't get a signal out here. He gestured to the beer on Tan's bike. Well, bring that in. No point in letting it get warm. I helped him carry the beer and food inside the cabin. The same filthy room where my world had ended. Being back here, it made my blood run cold, but it also sharpened my resolve. I set the beer down and glanced at my backpack, which I'd placed on the floor near the rickety old bed. My tools were ready. He was about to join his friends in hell. He spread a blanket on the floor and started laying out the food. So, he said, trying to make conversation, you and Tan been together long? Oh, we just met, I said airily. He's a nice guy, but a little timid. You know, he told me he was afraid to ask me out because he has a wife. I told him I could be discreet. I leaned forward conspiratorially. He's a fool, right? If you were him, you'd take the chance, wouldn't you? I'm much more fun than some boring old wife. I was playing with him, a cat with a mouse, and he was falling for it. Then, suddenly, his demeanor changed. His eyes went cold. In a flash, he was on me, one hand grabbing my throat, slamming me back against the wall. Who the fuck are you? He snarled, his face inches from mine. What's your game? His grip on my throat was crushing. I couldn't breathe. Black spots danced in my vision. He'd figured it out. Somehow, he knew. He pulled a knife from his belt and pressed the cold steel against my neck. Talk, he hissed, his breath hot and foul against my face. Tell me what you're really doing here, or I'll gut you like a fish. I had to think fast. Panic was a luxury I couldn't afford. I let my body go limp, my eyes filling with manufactured tears of terror. I made my voice a pathetic, choked whimper. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a friend of Tan's. Why are you doing this? Don't lie to me, he snarled, pressing the knife harder. A thin line of blood trickled down my neck. A loser like Tan doesn't get a girl like you. You want something. What is it? Money? You think we have money? My mind raced, searching for a plausible lie, something his arrogant, misogynistic brain would accept. Okay, I gasped. You're right. I'm not his friend. I'm a call girl. He hired me for the party. A surprise for you all. I forced a sob. Is that what this is about? You don't have money to pay me? Look, if you're broke, just say so. You don't have to kill me. It was a perfect lie. It fit his worldview. A woman like me only existed for one purpose. His grip loosened slightly. He was considering it. For real? He grunted, still suspicious. Yes, for real. God, what do you think I am? Some kind of assassin? Look at me. I'm here to party. That's it. Now, are you going to let me go, or are we going to stand here all day? The others will be here any minute. He stared at me for a long moment, his little rat-like eyes searching my face. Then, he grunted and shoved me away. Stupid bitch, he muttered, putting his knife away. Why didn't you just say so? He looked me up and down, a lecherous grin spreading across his face. All right, we ain't got much money, but we got other ways to pay. I rubbed my throat, taking deep, shuddering breaths. It had worked. I was still in the game. I gave him a shaky, seductive smile. I like the sound of that, I said, my voice husky. I like a man who knows how to get creative. His ego was fully restored. He was in control again, or so he thought. He went back to the blanket, cracking open a beer. I needed to act now, while he was off balance. God, it's so hot in these clothes, I said, peeling off my t-shirt, leaving me in just the pink bikini top. I walked over to my backpack. Let me just grab a drink. I opened the bag, my heart hammering, my taser, my knife, my moment. "You like orange soda?" I asked, my back still to him. "Nah, I'm good with beer." "Okay, I'm just starving. Let's eat first, okay?" He was completely disarmed now, convinced I was just another dumb girl he could use and discard. He didn't see the monster he had created. As he bent down to grab a bag of chips, I moved. I pulled the taser from my bag and lunged. I pressed it into his side and held the button down. He screamed and convulsed, crashing to the floor. I didn't stop. I hit him again and again. He twitched and spasmed on the filthy floorboards. I grabbed the utility knife from my bag and knelt over him. I looked down into his terrified, pain-filled eyes. "It's me," I whispered, my voice deadly calm. "I'm the ghost from 6 months ago." Recognition dawned, followed by pure, abject terror. He tried to speak, to beg. I didn't let him. I plunged the knife into his throat, silencing him forever. 5. It was done. A profound, hollow silence descended on the cabin. It was over. The rage that had fueled me for 6 months suddenly evaporated, leaving behind a vast, aching emptiness. I stumbled out of the cabin, gasping for air, the metallic tang of blood thick in my throat. I looked at my hands, stained with the lives I had taken. I was a murderer. I locked the cabin door, leaving him inside with the ghosts of his friends. I got on his motorcycle and rode away, leaving that place of nightmares behind me for good. As I sped down the highway, the reality of what I had done crashed down on me. I had killed 5 people. I was a monster. I started to laugh, a wild, unhinged sound that quickly turned into gut-wrenching sobs. I was laughing and crying at the same time, a torrent of grief and madness pouring out of me. After a while, a strange calm settled over me. I had maybe 1 day of freedom left, before their families reported them missing, before the police found the bodies. One last day. I decided I would spend it being happy. I rode straight home. I walked into the house, took a long hot shower, and scrubbed my skin until it was raw, as if I could wash away the blood, the memories, the sin. Then I took all the money I had saved, every last penny, and gave it to my grandmother. "Grandma," I said, pressing the thick envelope into her hands. "This is for you." "Olivia, honey, I don't need this. You keep it. Please, Grandma. You're going to need it. You and Grandpa. You have to take care of yourselves, okay?" She looked at me, her brow furrowed with concern. "You're talking strangely. Is something wrong? Are you going somewhere?" "I have to go away for a while, Grandma. A long while. I love you so much. You and Grandpa have to stay healthy." Before she could ask any more questions, I went to my room. I picked up my phone and I called Ethan. "Ethan, it's Olivia." "Olivia, hey." I wasn't expecting you to call. Are you free tonight? You still want to get that ice cream?" There was a stunned silence on the other end of the line. "Are you serious?" "Yes, of course. I'll come pick you up right now." "Okay," I said, a real smile touching my lips for the first time in what felt like a lifetime. "I'll be waiting." I put on a simple white dress. I let my hair down. I put on a little lipstick. I looked at myself in the mirror. For one night, I would be the girl who goes for ice cream, the girl who laughs, the girl who falls in love. When Ethan saw me, he just stared, speechless. "Wow, Olivia, you look beautiful." That night, we walked by the lake and ate ice cream. He held my hand. It felt warm and safe. He made me laugh, a real, genuine laugh that felt alien coming from my own throat. He kept looking at me, his eyes full of wonder. "I can't believe this is real," he said. "I've never seen you smile before. It's like watching the sun come out." "Don't get used to it," I said softly. I want to, he said, his voice earnest. Olivia, I know you've been through a lot, but could you give me a chance to take care of you? I think I'm falling in love with you. His words were a sweet, beautiful torture, a glimpse of a life I could never have. A tear slipped down my cheek. Hey, what's wrong? He asked, his voice full of concern. Nothing, I whispered. I'm happy. It's been a long time. He pulled me into a hug. I love you, Olivia, he whispered into my hair. I will always protect you. I'll never let anything bad happen to you again. I closed my eyes, clinging to him, my heart breaking. He kissed me then, a long, deep kiss under the stars. It tasted of sweetness and sorrow. It tasted of everything I was about to lose. We spent the night together in a cheap motel by the lake. We made love with a desperate, frantic energy, as if the world were ending. For me, it was. The next morning, I woke up before him. I checked the news on my phone. Nothing yet. I watched him sleep, his face so peaceful, so full of hope, and I knew what I had to do. He drove me home. At the gate, he didn't want to leave. Let me stay with you today, he pleaded. Colin's sick. I can't stand the thought of being away from you. You have to go to work, I said, gently pushing him toward his car. I'll see you tomorrow. Promise? I promise, I lied. I went inside. I ate the breakfast my grandmother made me. I helped her with her chores. I was a good granddaughter because I knew it was the last time. That afternoon, I went to the cemetery. I sat between the graves of my parents and my sister, and I told them everything. I cried until I had no tears left. That night, after dinner, I knelt before my grandparents. Grandma, Grandpa, I said, my voice trembling. Please forgive your ungrateful granddaughter. They rushed to pull me up. Olivia, what is it? What's wrong? I looked them in the eyes, my heart shattering into a million pieces. Take me to the police station, I said. I've killed 5 men. The silence that followed was the most profound I have ever known. My grandmother started to sob, a deep, wrenching sound of a heart breaking. My grandfather just stood there, his face pale and slack with shock. They took me. They didn't ask questions. They just held my hands, one on each side, and walked with me into the police station. I didn't feel fear, just a deep, aching sadness for the pain I was causing them. The detective on duty laughed when I confessed. Cute kid, you have a little too much to drink tonight? I'm serious, I said, my voice flat. I gave him the location of the cabin, the names I remembered. I killed them all. He made a phone call. His expression changed. He hung up the phone and looked at me with new, horrified eyes. The story exploded. TWENTYYYEAROLD girl murders. 5 men in 3 hours. I became a media sensation. The forest nymph killer. A cold-blooded she-devil. The public outcry was deafening. Execute her. She's a monster. My diary, which the police had taken from my room, was leaked to the press. Suddenly, the narrative began to shift. My story, the abuse, the rape, the cabin, it was all out there. Then, the young couple who had rescued me came forward. They had photos they'd taken that night, documenting my injuries. The story went from a simple, gruesome murder case to a complex national debate. Was I a monster or a victim who had been pushed too far? Ethan was a rock. He hired the best lawyer in the state, a brilliant young man named Kwan. He brought the hospital records, proving my PTSD and depression diagnoses. He never stopped fighting for me. He never stopped believing in me. I, however, had given up. I wanted to die. The nightmares had come back with a vengeance. The cabin, the faces, the pain, it was relentless. In my jail cell, I found a metal spoon and spent days sharpening it against the concrete floor. When it was sharp enough, I slit my wrists. I woke up in the prison infirmary. They put me on suicide watch. My depression was spiraling, and I was losing my grip on reality. The lawyer, Kwan, came to see me. I refused to talk to him. He came back, this time with my grandmother. I had no choice. I don't need a lawyer, I told him, my voice dull. I did it. I deserved to die. Kwan looked at me, his eyes kind but firm. You're 20 years old, Olivia. Your life isn't over. It is, I said. No, it's not, he replied. What you did was wrong, but the men you killed, they weren't saints. We've been digging. They all had criminal records, assault, domestic abuse. After your story broke, other women in that area started coming forward. Stories of harassment, of rape. They were terrorizing that community for years. He leaned forward. The wife of Lamb, the man with the scar, she sent a letter to the DA begging for leniency for you. She said he was a monster who beat her and their children. She said you saved her life. I stared at him, speechless. You're not a monster, Olivia, he said softly. You're a survivor. Now you need to let us help you survive this. Week after week, he came. He talked to me. He listened. Slowly, with his help, and with the unwavering love of my grandparents and Ethan, the darkness began to recede. A tiny sliver of light appeared at the end of the long, dark tunnel. I started to think. Maybe I did want to live. A month later, I stood before a judge. Thanks to Quinn's brilliant defense and the immense public pressure, I was spared the death penalty. 20 years. It felt like a lifetime, but it was a life. My grandparents and Ethan were there. My grandmother cried with relief. It'll go by fast, sweetie, she said, her hands trembling as she held mine through the bars of the transport van. We'll be waiting for you. Ethan looked at me, his eyes full of a love so deep it hurt. I'll wait for you, Olivia. No matter how long it takes. Don't, I whispered. Go live your life. Find someone else. Never, he said, his voice thick with emotion. It will always be you. And so, my life in prison began. It wasn't easy. The other inmates tested me, but they didn't know who I was. They didn't know the things I had survived. I learned to be strong in a different way. I learned to fight, not with knives and acid, but with a quiet, unshakable resolve. I became a protector of the weaker inmates, a silent guardian in a world of concrete and steel. 13.5 years. That's how long I served. With good behavior and parole, my sentence was reduced. The day I walked out of those gates, the sun felt warmer than I remembered. My hair was streaked with gray. I was 33 years old, but they were there. My grandparents, older, frailer, but there. And Ethan, he hadn't changed. He just looked at me, his eyes shining, and opened his arms. I walked into them, and finally, let myself cry. 10 months later, we were married. The 33-year-old bride with a past and the 38-year-old groom who never gave up hope. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. My ghosts still visit me in the dark of night. The scars, both visible and invisible, will always be a part of me. But as I stand here now, with my husband's hand in mine, watching the sunset paint the Oregon sky in shades of orange and pink, I know this. I survived. And sometimes, in a life like mine, survival is the only victory that matters.